is my new series, What If Issei Was a Bioweapon? This is going to be different from What If Issei. Okay, What If Subaru Was a Bioweapon is what this is. It's going to be different from What If Issei Was a Bioweapon, trust me. It's not going to be the same repetitive stuff. There's going to be one little surprise, which is in the thumbnail, obviously. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into this. Alright, so Subaru, yes, he was experimented on and was turned into a bioweapon, but majority of his memories are suppressed. So he goes through most of what he can remember of his life, because he was adopted by, Subaru's original family. They adopted him, though. And they noticed that he had a very, very dark past, that he literally, if he talked about his past, he would start to twitch a little sometimes. PTSD would kick in a little, and then he might start screaming. So they refused to talk about his past. And he always took medication to suppress his actual memories. Not memories, more the symptom of PTSD, which was there, so he always had that on him. He always had at least 5 to 10 bottles on him, in case he ever went out somewhere and was out too late. So, yeah, Issei was, well no, not Issei, god damn it, I've literally done too many Isseis. Well, not too many in a row. So Subaru literally is, walking to the store, goes into the convenience store, buys a bag of chips, a few drinks, like 3 sports drinks, and literally starts, reading an actual manga, and is just browsing at this point. It just walks out, hears a voice, and is very, very, wondering what the hell that was. Probably just his imagination. He walks outside, all of a sudden, he feels a little uneasy. He blinks once. He's already in another world, apparently, is what he can see. There's furries, there's, very monstrous-looking people. And he sees a few actual demi-humans, like this girl with cat ears. Which he was really surprised about all this. But, tried to take the calm demeanor, because this Subaru is way different. Tries to do a calm demeanor and investigate. So he looks through everywhere, and that was in canon. Once he gets up to where the actual female furries were, he opens the door and sees that they're all there, and he's like, oh, I done fucked up. And then they're all coming at him, trying to slap him. Yeah, Issei just dodges, starts fucking running speed, just like Speed Runner. Yeah, just starts bolting away. Honestly, Barry Allen has nothing on him. Just kidding. He's not going that fast. But he's running faster than a normal human would run. So he runs, and they're still following him, so he decides to go into this alley right next to the apple stand. Since he was running in a straight line for a while, so he goes to the side in the alley of the apple stand, presses his back against the wall. They all run past him. And, Subaru just walks through the alley, sits down, removes his jacket for a second because it's really hot. And all of a sudden, these 3 thugs come by. They walk to the alleyway. They see Subaru's easy pickings, because he's not exactly too buff, but not too, skinny. So, yeah, the blue-haired one, which I'm just gonna call Blueberry. Blueberry just is like, give us all your money, we might let you live. And then Subaru starts laughing, saying, oh, wow, you're trying to rob me, the main character. And then they're like, what the fuck are you on? And then Subaru's just like, I know I'm probably the main character because I was sent to another world. And they're like, what are you talking about, another world? And then before Subaru can unleash the unholy ass whooping on them, yeah, this man in a suit comes out right behind them and just slaughters all of them. Grabs the Blueberry's head, rips it off, literally looks the big guy in the eyes, and the big guy's fucking soul gone. Just passes it down to the ground. And then just fucking kicks the little shit. Just kicks the short guy. And he just flies like a football into the wall. Probably breaking every bone in his body. The man walked closer to Subaru, and Subaru was like, hey, 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 get away from me. You don't want to unleash this ass whooping. So Subaru is like trying to punch him. He punches right to the right, and all the guy does is just dodge to the side, dodge to the left, kicks Subaru right in the gut. Subaru coughs out a little blood, but then Subaru, is a little dazed, falls back, gets up, tries to roundhouse kick him, which does not work because all he does is just duck down, grab his leg, and swing him against the wall. And Subaru is in unbelievable shock that his main character status ain't mean shit. And yes, he still thinks he's the main character. So, he literally just looks at the guy in a little bit of shock, then gets back up, coughs up a little bit more blood, and he's like, you know what? I'm about to kick your ass. He runs up towards the man again, charges a left hook, and then the guy says, are you just going to do this repetitive nonsense? And then right when the left hook looks like it's about to hit him, he charges to the left, only to be met with a right hook. Because that first throw was a fucking fake, and just hits him right in the nose. The man starts bleeding a little, and then he's like, very good, Subaru. And then Subaru's wondering, how the fuck do you know my name? And just says it out loud. And the guy says, I've been, well, how do I say this? Watching you. And Subaru's like, oh, so I'm apparently so popular that I have stalkers now. Nice to know. In a sarcastic tone. And then the man in the suit stands up, grabs Issei by the head, and says, not in that way. But you seem like the perfect candidate for a little something I have in store. And if you can't tell, this is Mephisto. Okay, he's trying to make Subaru into a Ghost Rider. Thing is, Mephisto has about like 4 billion souls by now. Just gonna tell you that. And yeah, he tries to forcibly turn Subaru into a Ghost Rider. Because after he has so many souls, he can forcibly turn around 2 people into Ghost Riders. So he's trying to turn, Issei into a Ghost Rider, trying to put as little souls as possible, but for some reason, all the souls are being dragged into Issei. And this is because Issei, as a bioweapon, only has about 3 skills. One is his physique, which is very strong and fast, compared to a normal human. 2 is the absorption rate, and 3 is the regeneration. So the absorption rate is just absorbing all the souls rapidly, and then Mephisto's trying to get his hand away because he feels his own soul being sucked in, and he's thinking this is quite ironic. And his mind is kind of like, this is not funny. And then Issei is just trying, not Issei, Subaru is just trying to get the fuck away from him. But, before he can get away from him, Mephisto grabs his hand back and starts fucking yeeting himself away. Just starts bolting away. And then Subaru said, you better run, little bitch boy. And then Mephisto hears this, and he's like, I'm gonna come for your ass later. And Subaru's like, oh shit. This is not gonna be good. So Subaru's contemplating on what the fuck just happened. And Amelia walks, not Amelia, but Felt, runs by, sees all of these corpses, looks at Subaru, and just fucking runs even faster by him. Just parkours and everything, and just runs away. And Subaru's like, that was weird, I just saw a parkouring lolly. And then Amelia shows up, which Subaru looks at Amelia and is like, wow, she's pretty hot. Only thing is, he says this out loud. Amelia blushes a little hearing this, but then sees all these corpses, these 3 corpses, and says, what the hell happened here? What did you do? And then she's like readily firing icicles at him. And Subaru just dodges those with ease. Actually breaks a few of them that are heading towards him. And then Subaru says, "You know, for someone so hot, you're quite cold, aren't you?" And he starts laughing a little. And, yeah. Amelia just asks again what happened before I start firing more icicles at you. He explains that some guy with a suit came in and slaughtered all of them and just left. Which, yeah. Amelia doesn't believe it first, but then Subaru's like, "I don't give a fuck if you believe it or not, actually." "Oh yeah, some girl ran by here with some type of insignia," which, yeah, that catches Amelia's attention and said, where'd she go?" So, just points at the building in front of them, like the dead end, and says, "She parkoured up there." And Amelia says, "Thank you for the information, but I suggest you go with the Knights because of, you know, all this, to put in a report." And then he says, "If I put in a report, aren't they just going to try to frame me for this?" And then she's like, no, they won't do that." Then Subaru's like, "Oh yeah, I'm too smart for that." No. So Subaru is like, "Nigarandeu," and if you don't know what that's from, that's literally from JoJo's. You know, where Joestar starts running. This is the, you know, this is the sub. Anyway, instead of that, he just says, "I'm going to use the one technique that Joseph Joestar has taught me." And Amelia's like, "What is that?" And then Subaru's like, "To run away!" and starts running away. And Amelia's like, "I'm too stupid, I fell for that." So he starts running away, but he feels a burning sensation in his chest. Subaru runs into the forest, you know, away from the actual city. And then he feels a burning sensation, so he goes into his actual soul. But Subaru can do this. Subaru's dragged into his soul by the Ghost Riders. And there's Ghost Riders, not just one. There's 4 inside of him. 4 Ghost Riders. 3 of them are actively trying to, you know, take control of Issei. Not Issei, but, you know, Subaru. They're actively trying to take control of him. But Subaru's not having this, just bodies all of them. Just sees this one Ghost Rider with blue flames and 2 guns, massive guns, trying to shoot at Subaru, and Subaru's like, "Oh hell no." Just dodges all the bullets that are coming by, like the Matrix. Literally, he actually grabs one of the bullets and fires it back by throwing it so fucking hard that it goes right through that Ghost Rider's skull, shattering it, thus killing a Ghost Rider. Which, if you're wondering, why are those Ghost Riders so fragile? Well, that's because Subaru is very strong, but not strong enough to kill Ghost Riders, really. But this is the Soul Skate. They underestimated him. They really did. And they regret it immediately. As soon as that one Ghost Rider just dropped down, the other 2 got into even more combat stage. One of them had a chain, you know, similar to him. Yeah, one of them had a chain, started throwing it at Subaru. Subaru was dodging until one of them actually hit his arm. And then he pulled out more chains, about like 40 more chains came out from his back though. They pinned him down from his arms together, like pinned his arms together, his legs together, and one went towards his throat, was choking him. And then flames start going through the chains, and then Issei is just, not Issei, but Subaru was just like, "Yeah, you done fucked up." And the Ghost Rider's like, "What do you mean? I've got you right where I want you, kid." And then Subaru literally just, his body starts bulking up a little bit, you know, from the strength. And he just fucking breaks the chains from the arms. Grabs the chain that's on his neck, yanks the Ghost Rider towards him, grabs him by the head, which is still flaming by the way. But, you know, Subaru doesn't really give a fuck because it's high regeneration. Grabs the Ghost Rider by the head, removes the rest of the chains, the one that's on his neck, and the ones that are on his legs, and wraps it around the Ghost Rider, yanking it so hard that the bones start shattering in the Ghost Rider. which, yeah, it does not kill him, because, you know, the third Ghost Rider number 3 comes in, which I'm going to know the Ghost Rider's number 3 as Miguel, and the one which is currently being crushed by his own chains, because Subaru wrapped it around him, is going to be known as John, okay? So John literally is getting crushed by his own chains. Miguel appears behind Subaru and literally pulls out a fucking Spartan spear and starts trying to yeet it at him, but Subaru just like turns to the side, lifts out one hand, it catches that shit, yeets it right back. But Miguel just dodges this. Completely dodges it, which is very impressive. And yeah, Subaru notices that's pretty impressive. And then Subaru looks at the corner of his eye and he sees one Ghost Rider just, you know, sitting in a chair with a table and an umbrella on top of the table, eating biscuits, drinking tea, and eating cookies. And he's wondering, what the fuck is that one doing? And then he sees this little Ghost Rider cat, like this cat that's on fire. And he's wondering, what the fuck? But he's just focused on battle. He basically tears apart the second Ghost Rider, you know, just tears him apart immediately with his own chains, grabs the chains, goes towards Miguel. Miguel is literally like shitting himself. Like Ghost Rider, if he could, he'd probably shit himself or have the shit your pants face. But Miguel literally is a Spartan warrior, so he's like, this is going to be a glorious battle. And then all of a sudden, Issei, you know, Subaru just clubs him in the face and just blows up his head. Like, just shatters his head. These Ghost Riders were weakened because they weren't in action for a while. But Issei, you know, Subaru could feel that the fourth one that's there is not like that. The one that's casually drinking tea, eating cookies and biscuits with this cat. He walks up towards him and says, aren't you going to fight me too? And then the Ghost Rider says, why would I do that, my dear boy, when I could just coexist with you? I mean, your soul is strong enough to handle me. And you got those nuisances out of my hair. And Subaru was wondering, who the fuck is this? So he just asks who he is. And the Ghost Rider stands up, and he has a suit on. A checkered patterned suit on. Say no. He has chains that are out of his pockets. And he also has a top hat on. And he has a little pocket watch inside of his actual shirt pocket. And the chain of the pocket watch was outside. And he says, my dear boy, have you ever heard of Alice in Wonderland? And Issei says, yeah, it was this kid's book I read. He was like, have you ever heard of the name The Mad Hatter? And Subaru was just like, you're not the Mad Hatter, you can't be. And then he's like, I beg to differ. I am the Mad Hatter, but I'm what you call a Ghost Rider. And then Subaru asks, what's a Ghost Rider? And the Mad Hatter just says, the Ghost Rider is someone that Mephisto pretty much, you know, tricks into becoming a Ghost Rider, but you came one by force. And on top of that, you absorbed so many souls from Mephisto, I'd say he's pretty pissed off. He might attempt to kill you. Or bring someone else to kill you. So you're going to need our help. And then he says, wait, you said our help. Who else is there? And then he sees the flaming cat. And the flaming cat just jumps on Subaru's shoulder. Subaru tries, like, you know, pets it. The cat literally just meows. And then he's like, this is adorable. And Mad Hatter is like, yes, it is. You know, the cat from the storybooks of Alice in Wonderland? That's the cat, beware. I was the strongest Ghost Rider in my time. I even managed to almost defeat Mephisto. He had to gain 10 Ghost Riders just to defeat me. But I had the most trouble fighting that one cat over there. And I was able to turn some people into Ghost Riders. Mainly because my power was quite high. so I decided to do that. So I turned the cat into a Ghost Rider. I could only do it twice. I used one of them. That cat over there. It's been my companion for millions of years. And Subaru just looks at the cat looks at him, and just says, "What's up?" And Subaru's like, "What the fuck is that? You could talk?" And it just almost slaps the cat away, but the cat just jumps away, and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't need to get handsy and stuff." And then Subaru's like, "Okay, so you can talk." And the cat says, "I'm Azrael." I don't know what the name of the cat in Alice in Wonderland is. I'm gonna say Azrael, okay? So he meets the Mad Hatter and Azrael in his actual soulscape, and then he says, "So what are my powers then?" And he's like, "Well, I'll tell you just a little bit of my powers, but you're not ready to use all of them. You can use them outside of Ghost Rider form, partial form, or full form." He asks about this, and then, Mad Hatter says, "Alright, you can use it without my form. You can pull out pretty much anything that's like, let's say, a dagger or something the size of a dagger, or maybe even a pistol if you like. But it can't be too strong, really. But if you're in partial form, you can pull out bigger stuff, like, a great sword or something in that category. Maybe even a shotgun, instead of small things." And then Subaru's like, "Wow, that's actually pretty cool." And he says, "I'm not even done yet. When you go into full Ghost Rider form, you can pull out whole armored vehicles. Anything that your mind can imagine, my dear boy." And then Subaru's pretty excited to test out this power. And Mad Hatter also says, "One more thing. Please do not try to get rid of my top hats when your Ghost Rider outfit appears." And then Subaru says, "I'm gonna have that tacky ass fucking hat." Which it looks pretty badass, but Subaru thinks it's pretty tacky. And then, Mad Hatter's like, "Yes, you will." But then again, it's not that tacky. Also, if you throw it, you could probably chop a few heads. And if you pull something out of the hat, it could be something very grand. And he has an insidious smile. And just so you know, yeah, Subaru's a little creeped out. So he's about to go out of the soulscape. And then, he says, "Wait, take Azzy with you." And then Azrael says, "Don't call me Azzy." And then Subaru's like, "Wait, I can take out the cat with me?" And then Mad Hatter says, "Yeah, so you can take out the pussy with you." And then Subaru laughs a little from how he phrased it. And so does Azrael. But anyway, he takes out Azrael out of the soulscape. Azrael appears on Subaru's shoulder, but in more of a miniature form, and says, "Why are you so small?" And Azrael says, "Well, I have too much power and you're too weak currently for me to unleash too much of it. If I did, then it would cause too much strain on your body. You may explode. So if you want me to go my true form, I could at the cost of your life." And he's like, No, I'm good." And Azrael just chuckles a little. So Subaru walks back into the city, runs into Amelia again. Amelia is still looking for insignia, looks at Subaru and says, "Aren't you the guy that slaughtered 3 of those guys?" He's like, No, that was some guy named Mephisto. He was wearing a suit. And then Amelia's like, "Yeah, okay, I guess I'll believe you." And then Subaru just says, "Are you still looking for your insignia?" And then she says, "Yes, I can't find it." So Subaru just says, "How about this? I help you find it, you get me a place to stay." And then Amelia says, "Deal." Puck pops out, and when Subaru sees Puck, he's like, "I'm trying to resist the actual urge to pet Puck. Well, not Puck, pet that cat." And then Amelia says, "Oh, you mean Puck?" Then Subaru says, "Yes, I don't know why, but whenever I see a cat or cat ears, I have the urge to pet them." And then Amelia just chuckles a little bit. And yeah, Subaru just already pets Puck, and Puck would usually probably bite Subaru or something. Well, sometimes. But yeah. No. Subaru literally pets behind the ear. Puck is actually liking this, which is a shock to Amelia. And then Subaru just like stops because he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It was just unconsciously." And then, you know, Amelia and Puck sense some type of weird energy with Subaru. Kind of like very odd, dark energy too. And then, Subaru says, "Oh, well, I have this, familiar with me, I guess." And then he calls out Azrael. Azrael appears on Subaru's shoulder and says, "How nice to meet you." And they're both shocked. And they're like trying to talk to Subaru more about what Azrael is. And Azrael says, "Isn't time of the essence? I mean, shouldn't you try to find your, as you can say it, insignia?" And then Amelia's like, "Oh, I almost forgot for a second. Thanks, Azrael." And Azrael says, "Very appreciated that you had the courtesy to thank me. You're very welcome, my dear." And, yeah, so they just walk. They're, like, searching around. And then Subaru says, "Wait, isn't she probably in the slums? I mean, her outfit looked like it'd be something from the slums." So Amelia was like, I mean, we can go check." So they go to the slums. They're just walking around the city, about to go to the slums. Subaru sees this one little kid crying, and then literally walks up towards the kid. Amelia isn't the one that walks up towards the kid. Subaru does and says, "Hey, do you know what your mom is? Or your dad?" And the kid starts crying more. And then he says, "If you want, I can help you go find them." The kid perks up a little bit, but still crying. And then Subaru just summons out Azrael and puts Azrael in front of the kid's face. Azrael sees the cat and says, "Kitty!" Just fucking hugs Azrael. And Azrael just says, "I did not consent to this." And Subaru laughs a lot. So does Amelia. Puck does too. So, yeah, the kid literally just calms down and just starts hugging Azrael for a while. And they start walking around. They finally find her parents. And they, thank Subaru and Amelia. And they go along their day. And literally, Subaru and Amelia go to the slums. They meet this one guy. And Subaru says, "Do you know where I can go sell something?" And Amelia was like, "Wait, aren't we supposed to ask her the..." And then Subaru, put up his actual, finger towards his mouth and said, "Shh." So Subaru asked, "Where do you sell stuff around here?" And then the guy pointed to Old Man Rom's place and said, "Alright, thank you. That was very perfect." So Amelia and Subaru walked to the place. Amelia asked why he asked that. And then he said, "Well, usually people in the slums are more loyal than you think. So if you said where Felt is," which they know Felt's name by now, because of, searching, "then they might not give you the location or the exact location, and we'll have to just search around until it's nightfall," which isn't nightfall yet. And just so you know, yeah, Amelia's like, "Oh, okay, now I understand." So she's understanding why Subaru did this now. So is Puck, and Puck has to go in a few hours, maybe an hour. And Azrael's just still out and just says, "I sense a very, very big disturbance in that one area where we're heading to. I think it was Rom's shop, right?" And then Subaru's like, "I think it was. I honestly didn't pay attention." And Amelia's like, "How could you not pay attention when we're about to walk in?" So they walk up towards the door of Rom's actual, shop. And then all of a sudden, Subaru says, "Well, do you think we should probably be more prepared? I sense an ominous aura." And before they're about to head in, I stop the what if right here. If you want part 2, just get up to 10 likes or a few comments. And I'll probably make part 2 for this. Which I think this series is going to be great and a wonderful addition to my YouTube. Also, if this comes out a little early, then just think of that as, a bonus. Anyway, Wacky Anime What If, signing out.